welcome to episode 3 of Mads World. I'm your host Mads, and I hope you guys appreciate the self-destructive behaviour I've been doing to my own dating life. I matched with a guy on Tinder this week, we're getting along fine, and then he goes, "Oh, I see you have a dating podcast. I didn't realise I'd be going out with Hitch, the dating specialist." And I was like, bro, the reason for the podcast is because I have a terrible dating history. This episode focuses on the world of dating apps and dating app horror stories. I've had a lot of submissions through social media for this episode. However, I think I'm going to dedicate an entire ep to those because some of them are quite special and I might want to make sure I do them justice. Dating apps can be quite a slippery slope. You fall down the rabbit hole like Alice in Wonderland of swiping, and I think becoming reliant on them and addicted to them is quite easy, especially if you're living in lockdown like a lot of us are at the moment. A lot of us are in London anyway. Everyone in Melbourne is out having a grand time, having real dates, so that's nice. Although dating apps are usually just considered a helpful tool or a bit of fun, I think they have other knock-on effects that should be spoken about more, online safety being the main obvious one, but even other ones such as loneliness or addiction to dating apps, social anxiety, or even just increasing people's preference for online interactions over face-to-face, which I don't think is that healthy. But yeah, I mean, I'm not going to sit here and preach at you. We all love a little dating app. We all love the little ego boost and the ease of meeting new people, I suppose, as well, especially when you're in a new city. That's why I've used it for a lot, making lots of friends, meeting lots of people, having a few flings and that kind of thing. So yeah, so coming up next, I'm going to speak to my friend Harriet. She's a chef, she's living in London, and she's from up north, I can't do it. So yeah, you're really going to like her, and she's my neighbour. So here we go. Enjoy. Hello.
Hello, how are we?
Oh, we are good. Welcome to the podcast, Harriet.
Thanks so much for having me. It's exciting.
I know, it's very exciting to have the dating app specialist joining the cast.
That's a good title to have, isn't it?
It is like the queen of dating apps. It is a really good title. Yeah. So let's kick off with speed date round. So how did you and I first meet?
My best friend was living across the road from me in London, and she was living in your house now.
That's it.
And that's it. Yeah, we just hit it off. I think we're pretty similar.
Yeah, I think you came over one night and I was just in Zaya's bed. So you would have been like, who's this crazy Australian girl?
Well, I'd heard about the crazy Australian girl. But...
dearie me. And then how long have you been seeing your current flame?
Just over 3 months. So it's all quite new, quite lovely.
Yes, beautiful. And then how often would you say that you go on dates?
I was quite a prolific dater, if you can say that about yourself.
Prolific, love that word for the pod. That's a word that's not been used on the pod yet.
Yeah, I don't know if that's a good word to use. I'd say when I was in the groove of things, probably like 2 or 3 times a week.
That is quite a lot, but you know what? There's a lot of people in London, so you've still probably only dated 0.0001% of people.
Yeah, it's comforting to know that.
Yeah.
Actually, yeah.
And then what's your usual type?
Totally a cliche, but tall, definitely dark. I don't think I've ever dated a blonde person.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't even think you've dated a white person.
I have, actually. You'd be surprised to know. Yes.
Interesting.
But yeah, someone that makes me laugh. You've got me if you made me laugh, I think. As long as you're obviously nice on the other side. But
and you do have a stunning laugh, and I'm hoping we can hear it on the call. On the pod. Cool. And this is my last question in the speed date round. What is the best thing about having a special someone?
So yeah, I was thinking about, do I be cute? The forehead kisses, cuddles, or, like being around someone. But I actually, anyone that knows me knows that I have a thing with the toilet. So I have to talk about when I need to go to the toilet, and farting around someone is just,
Yeah. The first fart is a pivotal moment in everyone's relationship, isn't it? The first fart is huge.
100%.
Cool. All right. Well, the reason I wanted to get you on the show, Harriet, is because you are the dating app queen, and I thought we could do a little episode about some of the nightmares that happen when you playing around on dating apps, especially living in London when there is a lot of different types of people squeezed into one little city.
Yeah.
So you have a very interesting story, which I'd love for you to recap for me because I actually can't quite remember all the details myself, and I think everyone out there would love to hear it. So if you want
Yeah.
to, I'll throw over to you, and you can tell us the story about a certain Tinder escapade that you had.
So on Tinder, I was talking to this guy once who was great. You know, you kind of get these people that you really hit it off with at the beginning, and we were just talking loads. It ended up that we were FaceTiming quite a bit on calls and whatnot, and he was like tall and a footballer and a model, and normally they're,
Ooh.
you know, we have a cliche and a stereotype with a footballer that they're a bit up their own asses, aren't they? But
Yeah, I feel what you mean. I'm picking up what you're putting down. They're all the same, those footballers.
yeah, not to generalize, because I'm sure there's some lovely ones out there. But anyway, we were talking for, it was like a few weeks. But I was one day just on my phone, and obviously I'd followed him on Instagram and whatnot. So he'd been on my socials and I was used to seeing him on my socials. So I was flicking through Instagram stories one day. I saw a picture of him, not really like looking who the story was from. So I stopped on this picture and was looking at it. I was like, that's quite cute. And then I realized who had posted this story.
Who was it?
And it wasn't him. And I was like, oh my God. So I looked at the name, and it was a guy that I used to work with who, again, to be a complete cliche, on the last day he finished working with me, we got a bit drunk and it all got a bit carried away, and you know, you ended up doing the dirty.
Doing the dirty, Harriet. Yes. Yes.
And it was this guy that had posted him.
Oh, so they're friends, you're thinking.
Yeah. And I'm like, oh my gosh. Like, how, you know, when your heart just stops in your chest and you're thinking, this cannot be real, because they don't normally even live in the same country.
Oh no.
So then I was like, which one do I ask? Like, which one do I ask who knows the other as well? Like, so anyway, I chose to ask the Tinder guy, and I was like, do you know so-and-so? And he was like, oh my God, please tell me that you've not like got with him, or that this has been a thing.
And you're thinking it's a friend, it's a cousin.
Yeah, I'm thinking something like this. I'm thinking, how bad can it be? I mean, it's pretty bad if it's his mate anyway. But anyway, I said to him, oh, I used to work with him and I can't obviously lie to you about this one. To which he didn't respond for a few minutes. And then I'm obviously like, oh my gosh, who is it? And he replied and went, yeah, that's my brother.
No. Only you.
Oh my God. How does that even happen?
How does that even happen? So the boy you like, you've been talking to him on Tinder and everything. It turns out you've shagged his brother. I can't cope with that.
I cannot. And like, there's just no, of all the people in London I could have matched with.
What is there, 9 million of us here? That means 4.5 million of them are men. You know, probably 3 million of them are straight. Maybe 1 million of them are our age. I'm just making it up here, but
yeah,
that's insane.
I was honestly just, I couldn't even.
You did continue to pursue it though, didn't you?
Oh, I mean, yeah, we talked about it and it went somewhere, but that's maybe a story for another day.
That's a story for another time. Oh dear. So I guess that's story one about the perils of Tinder. So I've got a story which this has reminded me of about when I downloaded a new dating app. I got targeted on Instagram, this new dating app, download it, blah, blah, blah. I was like, great. And then downloaded it, made my profile. I was like, oh, this is all quite good, quite interesting.
Yeah,
like,
quite normal.
Normal, like the algorithm, all that kind of thing. And I'm swiping through. There's loads of cute guys on here. I'm like, okay, yeah, they're all quite polished. Like, yeah, all looking really nice. And then probably a week went by and I'd had no matches. And I'm just sitting there thinking, what is wrong with me? Like, I'm not a bad looking girl. I've got other dating apps. I'm usually quite popular on them, if you don't mind me saying. And I'm sitting there, my self-esteem is just plummeting. I've got no matches. I've got not one match. And I'm just there swiping away. I'm like, these guys, they look pretty nice, pretty cute, but I wouldn't say they're out of my league. Like, I'm getting real depressed about it. And then finally I match with a guy. I'm like, yes, about time.
This is the one.
This is the one. I've matched with a guy. he looks like, pretty camp if I'm honest. And he says, "Oh, honey." I'm like, "What?" He says, "You do know this is a dating app for gay men, don't
Oh
you?"
my life.
Swiping through.
You are joking.
It's called Chappy, so the clue is in the name.
Oh my God. You're amazing.
I've been getting so depressed swiping through all these gay guys. Like, I'm the only woman on this app.
Oh my life. There's no way no one fancies me.
I know. I'm like, seriously, like, I'm not ugly. Like, why don't any of you like me? But this sweet angel just came out. He matched with me just to tell me
God
to
bless
get off
him.
his app. I know.
You're taking up space, darling. Move.
Out the way, you. So, yeah, I think in terms of more dating app stories, so you've got another one, don't you, about the first one when you came to London?
Yeah, so 3 or 4 weeks after I moved to London, I basically was talking to this guy for a while, and he was wanting to meet up, but I was a bit apprehensive because never met anyone before off Tinder, and I was like, I'm in a new city. But anyway, I knew him as Tyler off the app. That was his name. And so we were talking for ages, and I met up with him. We started seeing each other a little bit for a few weeks. Must have been about 3 weeks after I first met him.
Okay, so you've been seeing each other for, close to a month, and you think you know this guy and you start liking him and that kind of thing.
Yeah, like I know about his family, and like I know what he does, and like I've been to his house and he's been to my house. And I've mentioned him to a couple of my friends. And then we were out for drinks one night, and we were walking through this really busy part of London near Old Street, and this girl screamed a name, and he responded to it. And I was like, what? I was like, sorry, what?
Oh my
And she came up and she knew him. And she was like, oh my God, hello, how are you? Like, blah, blah, blah. And I was just kind
and
of...
it's not Tyler.
No!
So his name's not
No!
Tyler. She's yelled another name and he's gone, oh.
He's responded to it and gone, oh, hi. And then they were talking, and it turns out they went to school together, so she obviously knows his name.
Oh my God.
And so then I thought, hang on a minute. Like, I was like, that's not your name. What's your name? And he was like, oh, no, Tyler's my middle name, blah, blah, blah.
Oh, bullshit.
Bullshit. So then I, being the little stalker that I am, went on the football transfer market.
Yes, Harriet.
And I looked up said real name, and Tyler has nothing to do with it.
Oh my God.
So, yeah.
So he was on there, though. He was on the football transfer market.
He was on there as a football, but he also didn't play for the team that he said he played
Liar.
for. So everything about him was a little falsehood. And yeah, he was put in the bin pretty quickly.
Oh my God. See, that's the danger with dating apps. Like, you really never know what you're going to get.
But also you just feel like, I've been calling you this name for over a month and you reply to it, and
yeah, and you wonder,
that's not your name.
You wonder how often he's out there doing this, if that is so normal, like that's normal behavior for him. It's so strange. And I guess it goes back to an episode I had recently with Sam about her getting stood up and speaking to this guy on an app. Like, you just never know the people that you're really speaking to, do you? And
exactly.
We can get into this in a bit when we have our left on red questions round. But it's doing those background checks is so important, because especially in London, there's just all types of people here, isn't there?
Oh my gosh, yeah. Like, you literally do not know what you're going to get. And it's so easy to be online and just be someone else.
Isn't it? And speaking of not knowing what you're going to get, this is the final story I've got about Hinge. So me and Molly, my housemate, we're in bed. We love to just sit back, watch a movie, and just scroll on our dating apps, just checking out the talent.
Just try find a beau, you know?
Yeah, just checking out the local talent and that kind of thing. And Molly's sitting there one day, and she she says, "Oh, this guy's quite cute. He's liked me. Should I like him back?" And she passes the phone over to me, and it's my ex-boyfriend, Harriet.
Oh my life.
It's
No.
my ex-boyfriend that cheated on me. So we're looking through his profile. I'm like, imagine if she'd never shown me that profile. She goes on a date with him. She's telling me all about this guy. Yeah, he's great. I'm going to invite him over for dinner. And then just a little knock on the door. Knock, knock, knock. Hello, who is it? Oh, what are you doing here?
It's you.
I'd be like, get the fuck.
You are banned.
You know you're banned from this flat. What are you doing back here?
You're a piece of shit, bro.
Oh my God. And I'm like, I just
save her from a bullet as well.
Honestly, I was imagining like how far it could have gone if she hadn't, and she'd probably swiped through, 50 other people. And then the fact that she shows me this one, it's serendipitous, isn't it? I think that's how you say it.
Yeah, 100%.
Serendipitous. I don't know. Anyway.
It's a big word for me, hon.
It's a big word for Harriet. So, right. So this brings us to our Left on Red segment. And we've, just as a recap, we've called it Left on Red because being left on red in this modern day and age, it makes you question your surroundings, makes you question yourself, and it makes you question a lot of things in life. So we've gone to Instagram, or to all of you listeners out there, and asked what people want to know about dating apps and what we can discuss. So our first question is, which is the best dating app? We've got a little list here because I've got a folder on my phone called dating apps, which my friend Dan thinks is very funny. So we've got Tinder, Hinge, Bumble, Inner Circle, Happen, and then I've got 3 ones I've probably never used: Mint, Badoo, and Clicked. So
I've never even heard of them.
They lie dormant in the app folder. So I think, what would you say is the best one?
I mean, you've really got to know what you're looking for, I think. Well, not know, sorry, but I think you've got to be aware of what you'd like from a dating app before you go on to
100%.
it. Because I mean, Tinder is very much like you can hook up and you do what you want, and it's almost business-like.
It's more of a transactional sort of like, you see someone, they're cute, that sort of thing. Whereas I feel Hinge definitely, for me, has the cream of the crop. All of the boys on there, I find them very cute, and I don't know if I'm just getting a lot of fuckboys or non-committal kind of guys on there, but traditionally it's more of a relationshipy sort of app over to something like Tinder.
Yeah, I'd say so, but equally the times that I've used Hinge, I've just thought, oh my gosh, this is so boring.
It is boring because no one ever replies to you. I don't understand that. They match you,
and I find it a lot harder to get matches. I don't know if it's like easier to just go for the raw sexual attraction first and then get to know each other after.
Yeah, I don't get it. And the other day I got so excited because I matched with the English guy from Derry Girls. And I was telling you guys, I'm like, I fucking love that show. And I'm just buzzing. Yeah. And he's not even bloody replied to me. I'm like, excuse me.
The audacity. I know. But then equally, why? This is the thing as well. Some people are shocked when I say that I say hello to every single person I match on a dating app. But I'm like, what's the point in matching with people to just stare at their photo?
Exactly. And this is what I spoke to Sam about as well, is that a lot of people on there have in their bio won't message first. I'm like, what are you doing on here? Like, is it just an ego boost? Are you just looking for something to do? I mean, that's definitely it if they're not going to talk to anyone.
Yeah, it's just very bizarre.
But yeah, I feel as though Bumble, I'm just looking at my little app folder now, and I feel as though Bumble, I went on there last night because I knew we were recording the podcast today just to have a little browse. Yeah. And I saw at least 3 guys in their 40s that were all, I know they're all married, that I used to work with.
Oh my God.
I know. So I feel like it's kind of the married.
That's not cute.
Yeah, it's not cute. It was the married market. So that was not stunning.
I had that for about a whole of a week, and then I thought that was equally as boring because no one can message you, can they?
I know, I'm not into that either. Yeah. Inner Circle, I had a little look on that last night as well. I think it started out that you had to invite a friend, so it was only like the cool people on there, but everyone's got friends that have friends that have friends, so now it's just kind of, it's become a bit of a zoo on there, and there's a few farm animals floating around in the zoo.
Oh gosh, we don't like a farm animal, do we?
We do not. And Happen, if you don't know what that is, for everyone playing at home, you have to be in the same vicinity to match with somebody. So you have to have walked past
Very
them or
interesting.
that kind of thing. And I remember a long time ago, I matched with a guy on there who, because I live sort of near a lot of Vietnamese restaurants and that sort of thing. And I matched with a guy on there who lived above one of the Vietnamese restaurants when I went out for dinner, and we dated for a little bit. So that was quite funny. But yeah, I probably wouldn't go on that or Mint, Badoo and Clicked.
There was one
Mm.
that someone I was working with, she was slightly older, she was about 20 years older than me, but she convinced me to get Plenty of Fish. And I was like, what is that? Because I've heard of it so much.
Yeah.
And I went on it, and that is the farmyard, I have to say.
The farmyard. So that's where all of the farmyard animals.
Maybe it's better if you're a bit older, but I was not taken by the choice of
That's
people.
where the Morrison's wonky veg are hiding, aren't they?
I feel really mean saying that about so many people, but yeah, the dating app world is ruthless.
It is ruthless. It is a transactional world out there, and it's basically you should judge a book by its cover out in that world, I think.
Well, I mean, yeah, but equally get to know the contents.
Yeah, get to know the contents of the book too, and you might be surprised.
Yeah.
So next question is, what kind of check should you do before going on an app date? So for me, I would usually check LinkedIn to make sure that like their job is what they say it is, and then Instagram, because if they've got friends and that, then you can kind of vet who they are through that. But what about you?
I'm very much an Instagram social media kind of vetter.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, if they've got social media, then great, you can kind of see what they're doing. But I'm also one of these people that is constantly updating anyone on what I'm doing all the time. So I always manage to either get like a real-time photo of them, or, you know, just if they say they're doing something, then I'll send a picture of what I'm doing, and then they kind of respond with that. So it's the same kind of vibe.
And then in lockdown as well, I think it's good if you can have a video chat or something first, because it's so normal now. I think in the past that maybe would have been a weird thing to ask, but I think now it's kind of more normal. I think all the dating apps as well, they've introduced an option where you can speak to someone on a video chat before you even go out, which I think is quite good. I mean, I probably wouldn't use it, but I think it is a really good feature that they do have.
I mean, it is so important as well, because, I mean, you literally do not know who you're meeting.
Exactly. I mean, your fake name guy story proves that, doesn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Even people, just like the way that they are when you meet them, they can just totally be different people. So, yeah, definitely vet whoever it is you're meeting.
And I feel like sometimes it can be a bit of a waste of time. Like if you show up and someone's just not who you think they are, or even if you just don't fancy their personality, it's kind of good to get to know them before. I mean, there's arguments for both. Sometimes I do just like showing up and getting to know each other like that. But then also it does feel like a waste of time when it doesn't go well, because it can either go well or it cannot.
Yeah. I mean, you put your time into it, don't you? So it's worth knowing what you're getting yourself in for.
Exactly. And so the next question was, what do you do if you see someone from work on a dating app? So for me, for my ego, I always swipe yes, just because I want to know if they also swiped yes, because I'm just so curious. But what would you say?
I would always swipe no.
Really?
Yeah, purely because I don't want them thinking I fancy them.
Yeah, I mean, that's a disaster. And Exhibit A, your story earlier.
Oh, yeah. And also, guys, don't shit where you eat, because stuff like that happens.
It never goes well, does it?
No, it never does. It never ends well. Yeah, no, I always swipe no, just because, say, that's my ego talking, but I don't want said person to think that I'm interested in that way. And especially the job that I do in the industry I'm in, gossip is wildfire. So
yeah, same with media, my industry. No, I totally feel that. It is dating apps are quite egotistical, aren't they? Because both of us just referred to it then. So I said yes based on wanting to know if they fancied me, and you said no based on them not thinking that you fancy them. So yeah, the whole thing, it's wild times we live in, Harriet.
Yeah, it's a roller coaster of emotion on dating apps. I talk to this about like with my friends quite a lot. Like some days you just feel great, and then people will tread on you in a minute, and then it's kind of like having to build yourself back up to be like, yeah, I'm really confident, look at me. Woo.
Seriously.
And even selecting your pictures, you're like, what vibe do you go for? Like who? And bios, what on earth? I don't write bios. That's one thing I'm really bad at.
You're not
I always
a bio
have like
writer.
A weird one-liner.
Okay, yeah, bios. That is an interesting one. I think my bio just says something like fun Aussie, if you want to have a good time and have a beer and a chat, I'm your gal or something like that. But I'm not drinking at the moment anyway. I think I just want people to think I'm fun or something. But yeah, what would your weird...
Please like me.
Yeah, please like me. I swear to God, I'm really fun.
I'm desperate.
Oh, Christ.
Oh, funny.
So the next question was, what radius do you do from your house? So for me, I'm a 3 to 5 mile girl. Like, I'm not going outside that purely because I don't think long distance in London, and long distance for me is south of the river. I'm not going south of the river. It's just too far and I'm too lazy, and I don't like spending extra money on my oyster if I don't need to. So what radius would you do from your house?
I was always a 1 to 2 miler, but
Okay.
I also learned that that's not great because you do come across the same kinds of people, or the same exact people again and again.
Or people's brothers.
Yeah, people's brothers. Or, you know what, totally this is going to sound thick, but when you move to a new city, you forget people have lived there their whole lives. They know
Yes.
people from the same area. So it's like, I completely that just brushed over my head when I first got Tinder in London. So I was like, yeah, none of these people are going to know each other. They do. They know each other.
They all know each other. They've lived here for so long.
Yeah. And the only reason actually that I met my current, what do you call him, man, boy? I just
Current
don't know what's
fling, flame, bone.
Oh no, he's more than that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was because I extended my Tinder radius because he is south of the river, guys.
Is he?
He's south. He's a southerner. You can't call them southerners in London, can you?
I know you can't, but I just think everyone below that, below the Thames, I'm just like, you honestly disgust me. Like, what are you doing down there? There's no connections. Like, how do you even get around?
It's funny though, because they think that about us.
Grow up.
Yeah.
So this was our final question. Do you tell people how you met if you met on a dating app, or would you rather make up a story?
I mean, previously I probably would have made up, not to my friends. My friends, I would have been totally honest, but like family was always a tricky one because I just didn't know what anyone's opinion of dating apps was. And I've never really spoken to like my parents about it or anything. But actually, recently, like if I've met anyone or anything, I've just been totally honest about it because in my job, like you just can't, unless you do meet people where you work, it's really hard because I work all the social hours.
Yeah, for sure. And I think as well, it's so much more normalized now to have met on a dating app. Like I know some people that have gotten in relationships of dating apps and ended up getting married and that kind of thing. I think it's just the age we live in, especially in lockdown. It's just something to do, eh?
I am now totally honest about it. But I have also met people off dating apps that are like, if this goes anywhere, like none of my family can ever know kind of thing.
Yeah, that's a thing that a lot of guys have in their bios as well. They say something like willing to lie about where we met. I'm just like, bro, are you just announcing that you're a liar from day one? Because I'm really not into that as vibe.
If you can lie about that, what else are we lying about, honey?
Yeah, seriously, go into my FBI investigating about your life now.
That's trust gone before trust was even built.
Oh my God, we're in the negatives, Harriet. Oh, all right. Well,
God. Half empty.
That's us, isn't it?
Yeah,
well,
yeah.
Thank you so much for joining the show. And I think that's all the questions that we've had through from people, but you've been an amazing guest.
Thanks so much for having me.
It's been very fun.
It's been great. I've been really excited about this, actually.
Oh, buzzing. All right. Well, I'm sure we'll hear from you soon because I know you've got a lot of other fun stories that we can chat about. But yeah, thank you.
I'll be back.
She'll be back. She's the Terminator and she'll be back. All right. Bye.
Bye.
So, I hope you liked hearing from Harriet and I on dating apps. And if you have any questions for me or for Harriet, or if you have any stories of your own, please do let me know on my Instagram. It's at madsworld.mp3. And I'm launching a website soon, so stay tuned for that too, because it's going to be very stunning and look very cute. Love and elbow taps. See you next week. to my mate,